Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are exploring a truly awe-inspiring concept. We often think of sunlight as just, a warm feeling on our face or a pleasant weather condition. But it's actually a physical particle directly interacting with your biology. Sunlight is arguably the most powerful drug you take every single day. And we're going to map out exactly how that works, literally molecule by molecule.
Just think about this number for a second. 8 minutes and 20 seconds. That is exactly how long it takes a single photon of ultraviolet light to cross 93 million miles of empty space at 186,000 miles per second. That single tiny particle arrives carrying 4.4 electron volts of energy, and it's about to strike your skin and kick off a biological cascade that changes everything about how your body functions.
Okay, let's dive into this. We've all heard this timeless piece of advice from our grandmothers, right? Go outside, get some fresh air. You probably didn't realize it as a kid, but she wasn't just giving you a folksy tip. Over the next few minutes, we are going to completely validate your grandmother's intuition using cutting-edge endocrinology and neuroscience. We're going to prove that she was actually prescribing a highly specific photochemical intervention.
Section 1. The skin's pharmaceutical factory. Think of your skin not just as a protective layer or a wrapper, but as a massive industrial pharmaceutical factory just waiting for raw material to drop from the sky. Here is how it operates. When that UVB photon hits your epidermis, it strikes a specific molecule your body synthesized just for this very purpose, called 7-dehydrocholesterol. The photon's energy physically breaks exactly one bond, the carbon 9 to 10 bond, transforming it into pre-vitamin D3. Then, through a cascade involving your liver and your kidneys, this eventually becomes the active hormone calcitriol. That single broken bond ends up regulating over 200 different genes in your entire body. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer scale of your skin's capabilities. Based on endocrinologist Michael Holick's data, just 15 minutes of midday sun on your arms and face produces a massive 10,000 to 20,000 international units of vitamin D3. Compare that to your typical supplement pill, which gives you a mere 400 to 1,000 units. Plus, your skin actually has a built-in safety valve. It regulates itself so you can never overdose, meaning it safely and vastly outproduces any artificial supplement. But here's the problem. Photochemistry absolutely does not negotiate with geography or social circumstance. If you live north of the 35th parallel, the winter atmosphere simply blocks the UVB. If you're over 65, your skin's factory naturally slows down. And if you have high melanin, your skin naturally filters out UVB, which means you need 3 to 5 times more exposure just to run the factory at the same baseline. For a lot of people, this creates a severe compounding photon deficit.
Section 2. Resetting your master clock.
So shifting our focus away from the skin and up into the eyes, we find a highly surprising mechanism that has absolutely nothing to do with your vision. Deep in your retina, beneath the rods and cones that actually help you see, are specialized cells discovered by David Burson. They contain a pigment called melanopsin, which is perfectly tuned to 480 nanometer blue light. Now, you don't see through these cells. Instead, their pure biological purpose is to detect sunlight and send a direct signal to the suprachiasmatic nucleus in your brain, entirely scheduling your body's 24-hour biological rhythm.
Spending all day indoors is honestly a biological disaster. Typical indoor lighting maxes out at about 100 to 500 lux, whereas direct outdoor sunlight hits 50,000 to 100,000 lux. We're talking about a massive order of magnitude difference here. Indoor light is simply way too weak to activate those melanopsin cells, especially as we age and the lenses in our eyes naturally yellow, filtering out that essential blue light even more. So the crucial point is that without that overwhelming intensity of morning sunlight, your internal clock physically drifts. It naturally wants to run on a 24.2-hour cycle. Without the sun to reset it daily, you shift your sleep cycle by an hour and a half every single week. This perfectly explains the severe sleep deterioration, those frustrating 3 a.m. wake-ups, and the chronic daytime drowsiness that we see so frequently in older adults who spend most of their time inside.
Which brings us right back to Grandma's wisdom. Get up with the sun. She wasn't just talking about having a good work ethic. She was literally describing the science of circadian entrainment. By stepping into the light, she was telling you to apply a direct photochemical intervention to reset your suprachiasmatic nucleus.
Section 3. The light and mood pipeline.
The benefits of the photon don't stop at just setting your biological clock either.
There's an incredible biochemical connection between light, your mood, and your sleep that operates continuously throughout the day. We call this the serotonin-melatonin pipeline. Research published in The Lancet by Gregory Lambert shows this directly. Photons hit the retina and trigger the brain's raphe nuclei to synthesize serotonin, which totally elevates your mood during the day. Then when it gets dark, that accumulated serotonin is the exact biochemical precursor your body uses to manufacture melatonin for sleep. This is exactly why more photons equal better mood and better sleep, and it's the precise photochemical pipeline used to treat seasonal affective disorder.
Section 4. The physics of trade-offs.
Of course, we really can't talk about sun exposure without addressing the inherent risks and the physics of biological trade-offs. Dermatologist Richard Weller discovered a completely independent pathway from vitamin D that is just fascinating. He found that UV photons penetrate deep into the skin and break bonds in stored nitric oxide reservoirs. This gas releases directly into the bloodstream, dilating your arteries and naturally dropping your blood pressure for hours, completely without oral medication. When you consider that cardiovascular disease vastly outnumbers skin cancer mortality, this UV mechanism is an absolutely massive public health factor.
And once again, we've got to hand it to Grandma. You need some color in those cheeks. That old adage perfectly, albeit unknowingly, described the nitric oxide-mediated vasodilation of dermal blood vessels. The color she wanted to see was literally healthy blood flow triggered by photochemistry.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is we have to be completely honest here about the objective reality of the trade-off. The exact same photons that give you life-sustaining hormones, lower your blood pressure, and improve your sleep are simultaneously causing DNA damage by creating thymine dimers. Your body has these amazing excision repair enzymes to fix these mutations daily, but that repair capacity is not infinite, especially as we get older.
So what's the magic answer? It's 15. Both dermatological consensus and photochemistry point to 15 minutes of unprotected midday sun. This is the golden number. It's just enough time to run the skin's factory at full capacity, producing vitamin D, releasing nitric oxide, and setting your biological clock, all while keeping the DNA damage well within your body's daily repair warranty.
The downstream effects of those 15 minutes are literally staggering. Just look at how it protects your skeleton. The calcitriol hormone produced in your skin travels down to your gut, boosting calcium absorption from a mere 15% to up to 40%. This physically strengthens bones, preventing osteoporosis, and it even improves neuromuscular coordination. That reduces dangerous fall risks and hip fractures in older adults by a whopping 20%. The photon literally holds your skeleton together.
Let's move to and see how this builds into her final piece of advice. You will catch your death staying inside all winter. When winter hits and sunlight drops, your vitamin D plummets. This directly weakens immune peptides called cathelicidins that your body uses to kill viruses. It's no coincidence that the peak season for respiratory infections perfectly correlates with this wintertime photon deficit. The physics proves she was absolutely right all along. Which leaves us with this final thought for the explainer today. You now know the incredible microscopic journey of the photon. You know that it breaks bonds, schedules your brain, lowers your blood pressure, and arms your immune system. Sunlight is quite literally the raw material your human machinery was built to receive. So, knowing what you know now, will you step outside tomorrow morning for just 15 minutes and give your body exactly what it needs? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you in the next one.